Well, what is going on YouTube? Welcome back to A Therapeutic Edge. Today on the table in front of us is something new. This is the Asher Knives Centri. Now, about 3 months ago, or 4 months ago, I started following Asher Knives, and they were showing pictures of a new series of production knives that they were releasing. And I got really interested, and particularly when I found out that they were going to come in at less than 90 bucks. And I thought, well, that's really cool considering the materials. So I went ahead and I ordered one, and this is what you get. You get a relatively nice box. You get an extra, we'll call it an Omega spring because it is an Axis style lock. You get an extra spring. You get a really nice sized pocket knife with a gorgeous blade, as you can see. I love a good Harpoon blade, and this Fuller is fantastic. It is G10, steel liners, steel pocket clip. Now, the first series here, this one, happens to be on phosphor bronze washers, but that was actually because of a communication error with the manufacturer. They're supposed to be on bearings, and my understanding is that the next generation of these will be on bearings at actually basically the same price, which is very cool. It is an interesting looking knife, although not a big knife. I think it's really pretty. But here's the thing. When I posted pictures of this, people in the community that I trust said, hey, Asher Knives used to make homages. I'm not going to call them clones because they were a little different, but they made knives that were very similar in shape and pattern to existing knives, and that upset many people in the community. But here's what I've learned. They have removed all of those, whatever they were, from the internet. You cannot find them on their website. You cannot find them on Instagram. You cannot find them on Reddit. They are gone. And Asher Knives has decided to release a series of their own knives. This one, and all of this series, this is S35VN. As I said, it is G10. It has got steel liners that are milled a little bit. It has an Axis lock and a really nice pocket clip for less than $90. So here's my take on this. I don't know what they used to do. I can't find those pictures. I can't find any of those knives. I'm going to go ahead and give them the benefit of the doubt that this is the direction that they're trying to take their company in. And I'm going to be okay with that. If Asher Knives leans back into copying other knives, I will stop supporting them. But in the meantime, they have managed to make what I think is a super interesting knife, and let's go ahead and take a look at it. Now, as I mentioned, it is S35VN. That is a great steel. It has a nice edge to it, although it is not super thin behind the edge because it is a saber grind. This is it's a great little knife. It really is. And again, they're 89 bucks. In fact, this one, and everyone who bought one of these, got them for $79 because they did a $10 refund because they didn't discover until after the knives had arrived from the manufacturer that they had used phosphor bronze instead of bearings. That is something they're going to correct. However, I like this knife on phosphor bronze. The action is very smooth. I love this knife just the way it is. Now, it is designed for left-right carry, as you can see. The pocket clip sits down into the knife in this shape. This is, well, quite a plate, actually. I'm not sure that that is something I would have chosen. But as an aesthetic choice, it's not terrible. As I said, it has a really nice backspacer. Everything on this knife is knocked down and milled appropriately. There are no sharp edges except right where you want one. For 90 bucks, or in this case, $79, this is one heck of a knife. But let's do some size comparisons. When I say it's not enormous, well, it isn't. Here it is against the PM3. As you can see, it's a little bit bigger than that. And of course, the PM2 is going to be much bigger. Size-wise and handle shape-wise, it is close to the bug-out. But as you can see, there are some fundamental shaping differences which make this a different knife. The overall shape of the knife, where the bug-out has sort of a curved, rounded spine, the Centri here is flat on a linear plane. The blade, of course, this is a Harpoon. They are radically different. And, of course, at this end of the knife, there is no lanyard hole on the Centri. But size-wise, it is very close to the bug out. I like when companies try something new. I'm okay when a company that used to do something they probably shouldn't be doing pitches all that, which will make them money no matter what they do, and decides to lean into something that may, well, it's a larger risk. You know, if you're producing knives that are very similar to existing knives and stamping your name on them, you know they're going to sell. Producing your own line of unique styled knives is a much greater risk. And I figure as long as they're willing to try it, and particularly in these materials, I am willing to give them a shot. And I'm glad that I did, because this is a great mid-sized knife. It is, well, it is very good. It really is. Let's go ahead and get the base measurements out of the way. For your, let's just go with the price that they will be down the road. For your $90, you get 1 to 3 inches of cutting on 3 1/4 inches of S35 VN. The grip area from just behind that swell, 1, 2, 3, just shy of 4 inches. It is a really nice handful. It is a narrow handle, but because it is that sort of marvelous rectangle shape, you get a really good grip on it. And of course, because it is a Harpoon style, you get a marvelous place for your thumb to land right there. This thing is fun to work with. Closed, we are looking at 1, 2, 3, 4 1/4, just under 4 1/4 inches overall. Let's go ahead and get some basic measurements out of the way. The blade stock is 2.3 millimeters. It is reasonably thin stock, which means that even though it has the saber grind, and while it doesn't come down to a super thin edge, it does come down to a very nice cutting edge. The handle itself is also reasonably thin. It is 11 millimeters, or 0.4 inch, 0.44 in fact. So it comes in well under half an inch. It is a nice sized knife. If you like knives that are the bug out size or the PM3 size, then the stuff from Asher Knives is going to suit your hand exceptionally well. Excuse my arm, but also the Mini RSK. These are all knives that are in a very, very similar vein and size. Only, you know, this one's $100 and something, this one's $100 and something, this one's $100 and something, this one's $90. Well, you pay your money, you take your chances, as they say. Now, somewhere down the road, someone is going to go ahead and test out this steel for HRC and for, quality overall. I don't have the tools to do that, so I have to run a little bit on trust. But the fact that this is, they say it's S35 VN, and I've had it for a week or so now, and I've done some cutting, and I've cut some fairly harsh stuff, and it holds an edge, as well as my Kaisers in S35 VN, by way of example, or at least very close. So I'm going to assume that it is what they say it is. Let's go ahead and weigh it out. Now, the one place this is different from most of the other knives I just showed is it is 3.6 ounces. So it is right at that ounce per inch of blade that people tend to really enjoy. I think it's a neat knife. Oh, I really do. I'm a huge fan of this particular size knife. You guys know I like bigger knives, but there are a series of small knives that manage to make handle shape in just such a way that the knife still fits very comfortably in even my large hands. The bug out, of course, is one. As I've mentioned, the PM3 is another one. I don't have it on the table, but the Mini Presidio 2 by Benchmade is also very much like that. These are small knives that have shaped their handle in such a way that people with large hands still get a really good grip. This is just such a knife. You can find these on the Asher Knives website if you are so interested. If you are interested in their knives, they have this and 2 other models that they have just released. I recommend you stop by and take a look. I'm going to say it again. I think everybody deserves the chance to do better than they have done in the past. I don't have any knowledge, really, of Asher's history beyond what was shared with me, I should say. But today, what is available from them are this and 2 other unique designs to the company. And as far as I'm concerned, if they're going to lean into making new stuff with their own unique designs, I'm going to give them a shot. And maybe I think you should too, if you're interested. Once again, I know this is kind of a short review, but I'm going to carry this thing for a while and see how the blade holds up and see how the materials hold up, and we'll come back and do a follow-up. But for now, this is the Asher Knives Centri, and that is C-E-N-T-R-I. C-E-N-T-R-I, the Centri. It is a neat little knife from Asher Knives, and I think it's probably worth your attention. I know that I'm glad I picked one up, if only just because I think the blade is gorgeous. That's about it. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about Asher Knives, or of course any of the knives I've shared on the channel, feel free to ask down in the comments below. I would love to have you here on a regular basis, so please subscribe. We'll see you next time.